this is probably one of the most important documents that FOSS advocates, open source advocates, Linux YouTubers should read that are not developers. Because this document, open source is not about you, explains everything that it actually is about. This is not about the GPL. This is about the or the BSD license, MIT license, stuff like this. Is about how, rightfully so, someone is pissed over the whole. I would not say pissed, but frustrated, like me, like a lot of other people, about the entitlement from users of FOSS software, content creators surrounding FOSS software, and how it's become a religion for them, and they love spreading the word, demanding, yelling and screaming, go on their high horse and say proprietary software is even all of these things. But what do? Do they help out? Not really. Do they contribute? Not really. But they do want, give me this, fix this, do that. Why don't you do this? And this is going to be a long video. I'm not going to read the whole of this stuff here, because they go into a little bit of the company organization he works for that is not that relevant. But again, like I said, it's going to be a somewhat long video. So watch it to the end. And you cannot comment about this subject if you not watch this video. At least you cannot comment on what I'm saying if you not watch this video to the end. It's impossible. Like, you cannot sit down and review a book if you only read the first two the first two pages. Okay? And it shows in your comment. I know you may think that you can fool everyone. It shows. I have done the same mistake myself, getting so emotional and commenting on a video, and I look like a fool when the creator or the creators community is like, you do know that at this timestamp they actually address this, or at this timestamp the creator clarifies what you actually right now are talking about, making it null, void, pointless, making me look like a fool. So please, if you don't watch it to the end, if you get already are too emotional and want to smash me in the head, take your hammer and go outside, touch some grass, smoke a doobie one, hammer the ground a little bit, go for a walk. It's not that important. If you have the maturity, and I really mean this, if you are mature enough, I will hope you'll watch it to the end. You may not agree with me, that's fine. I don't want you to agree with me. But I want you to think, how important is this to society and you? And a lot of content creators and users will say, oh, this is the most important thing. Oh, it's not. Okay? And when you're done that, please give me either a like or dislike. Hit the subscribe button if you really, really want to, and enable the ding-a-ling-a-ling button. And then go nuts in the comment section. But please watch the video to the end. And if you want to engage with me, I don't really do that in the comment section because it becomes a slopfest really fast. Go on to my Discord and we can have a conversation there. Little long intro, because this is going to be a long video. How did I come about this? So I am in my Rust phase right now. I went from Python, C#, Maui for mobile apps, dabble around in Java. I still do Java sometimes. Moved over to Go for a few months. But if you want to, this is a little bit of a rant here, but Go is amazing. But if Go is amazing for small projects. Go is amazing for small little things. If you want to do bigger things, have more moving parts, become a little bit smart about it, you tend to do a lot of connections to this connection, to this connection, to this connection to make it modular and stuff like that. So it becomes like you have more code that makes sure that it's modular than you actually have code that actually do shit. If you want to follow the best practices and if you want to do it proper and all that shit. And just like any hobbyist or developer, all roads lead to Rust or C++. I've dabbled in C++ also. But I'm in my rust phase. I really fucking love it right now, but I want a GUI tool. So I looked at Freya, I looked at Slint. Slint is kind of up there with the one I want to use. And now I'm looking at Iced. So I googled Iced here. It's the one that they use on the Cosmic Desktop. So it was like, well, if System 76 are using it, it must be good. I would say Slint, or what it's called. It's also for Python, JavaScripting, and C++. I like that a lot, but you kind of have to do like an about page button where you showcase their license, something like that if you use it, which can be a little bit cumbersome, but it's not that big of a deal. So I went in here to the introductions, and I was reading the philosophy here. I was like, oh god, here it comes. Iced is a very opinionated piece of software. I'm like, oh shit. It represents the culmination of almost 20 years of my personal battle against the internal enemy complexity. And I'm like, yeah, I complex don't mean better. Complex don't mean smart. And you can read the rest, but I saw this here. Open source is not about you. I'm like, huh? What the? Okay. And then I read this out part. This one will become into the next one here. But then I saw like all social implementations associated with it, including the idea of community-driven development and part of the recently invented methodology, which with little basis in how things actually work. Like, oh, a methodology that embodies cult-like both a lack of support for derivative and a sense of entitlements and non, like, this is like this person Rich is talking about the like, he's just highlighting the frustration I have with almost any hardcore Linux YouTuber, FOSS advocate, just highlighting it here, and I'm like, are you my best friend now? What's going on? Are we in are we going to touch tips? What's going on here? And then I read the developer of Iced here, and here, I do not try to be specifically welcome to contributors. Well, basically, I do it basically building it for, basically saying he's building it for on his own time. He don't really want the community to butt in. You know, it's his project. And I think this is like what a lot of people tend to forget. And I've been preaching this since the 90s when I got into open source and stuff like that. As a user, you are not entitled to anything. Especially if you don't buy it. There's this thing, and I'm going to anger a lot of people here, but paying for something gives you a lot of rights, benefits, and capabilities. Because you're going into a financial transaction that have a lot of law written around it. A lot of FOSS software. People are spending thousands of dollars, thousands of hours, losing out on precious family time, friend time, education time, socializing time, and opportunities to make money that could better their life, go to the trip they want with their kids and their family, to give you something they don't want anything from. They don't expect you to do anything. They don't want anything from you. They are just passionate about what they are doing. And they are like, I am passionate about this. I don't want to be a billionaire or Elon Musk or Bill Gates, anything like that. I just like what I'm doing, and hey, if anyone can benefit from it, here you go, look at it. If you want to, you can use it in your project, and so on and so on. They are doing it out of their goodness of their heart. They are giving you their time. And this is what frustrates the fucking living shit out of me. Then you see people come in and demand, do this, I don't like you doing this, and why is this the wrong call, and why can't I do this, and that would be okay if you bought the product from them. Again, with buying stuff, you get a lot of protection and a lot of capabilities and have a lot of rights. But they are just like, take it as it is. It says that in almost all the licenses, even the TPL and the licenses that are compatible with it, as is. It don't say as is, and you are therefore entitled to bitch and moan and be a pissy motherfucker, and I have to fix it free of charge for you. No. It's like me building, let's just say, a outhouse, or not a house, a tool shed. I don't want you to poop in your garden. A tool shed. And you were like, hey, I could actually use a tool shed. And I'm like, you know what? I have all the materials here. I will come and build it for you in your garden. You can have it. Maybe just tell other people that I do this. If you want, give me a dinner or something like that. That's how most friendship works, You get friends over, they do something for you. You give them a dinner, beer, or time out, or if you're really, really nerd, you let them run away with your wife. But, you give them, some food or something like that. A donation. So I come and build that house, and then you come next week. I want the door to be a little bit bigger. Okay? Make it bigger then. No, but you built it. I got it from you, yeah, but I gave it to you for free, as is. It's like, if you want to, I don't know how to do it. I will do it, and then I can say, well, I will do it when I have time. And you can come and bitch and moan, and then you also want another window. You want the roof to be not so steep, and you want heating in it, isolation, and blah, blah, blah. And if I don't do this, you'll bitch and moan about how bad I am at building tool sheds and stuff like that. All of this just because I was generous enough to give you a tool shed for free that taking me hours and materials to build. And you may say, it's software. Well, software has a lot of cost with it. So the basics, time. When I sit and develop, let's say, an open source project, I don't get paid for it. It's also consuming electricity that I pay for out of pocket. So when I sit and spend an hour compiling, building, I pay for that electricity. I pay for the heat that heat the room that I'm sitting in. I pay for the equipment that I may need to upgrade my RAM, which is super expensive right now. I have to pay out of pocket for that. So just because it's zeros and ones and it's in a repo somewhere, it means like it's that's why a lot of people say that piracy is not really stealing. It kind of is, but that's another debate. Just because you don't see the cost, because you can copy and paste it without any human involvement, stuff like that, software has a super high upfront cost. Look at games. It costs hundreds of millions of dollars to make a good game. Like a big budget AAA good game costs millions of dollars. 2, 5, 10 years of development. And most of them start to get a return of that investment in like 2 or 3 years after the game is out. So if everyone was copy and pasting it from day one, who's going to pay for all of that salary, electricity, promotions? So I hope you get it. So when I saw this, I'm like, holy fucking shit, a project that where they are not forcing me and insisting my dingleberries and my testicles to follow a religion. I'm like, holy crap. And this is the problem that I have. Like, I sit here, I build a lot of tools that I use for myself. Anything from PowerShell scripts to in almost all of the languages I just mentioned before that either set up project structures, scaffoldings, testing tools and stuff like that. And I'm like, I have many of those tools on GitHub, but they are closed down. When I mean closed down, they are private repos. Because I use a lot of different licenses. When I mean licenses, I use a lot of different libraries with different licenses. So if I have to open it up, I have to make sure that if I used ICE, that do I respect their license? Have I credited them where I need to credit them in the code, or in like Sled kind of want you like a about button that tells you that, or on your site and stuff. That like do I give the right credit where it's due? I hope this makes sense. 90% of the license or the projects that I have, I want to release in the BSD3 clause. Basically, like it's MIT, but you just can't use me as an endorsement for your product. And you have to credit me. That's the only difference between MIT and stuff, like roughly speaking. So I'm always looking at stuff like this. What do they expect So when I see this here, this is how I think. When I publicize a lot of these, I do them like slowly over the time. You can look at my GitHub page, but when I publish them, I have no fucking illusion of it. Like, oh my god, it's going to become $1 billion project. No, it's just this is shit I do that I need, that I use every day. Like I have a project that's just called PowerShell scripts. And it's just a repo where I throw in all the PowerShell scripts that I use. Some I have not used in years. And when I make a new PowerShell script that I use maybe once or twice or over a month or so, or still use now, I put them in there. Because maybe someone could either use it as something for a program and whatever it is, you know. But I don't expect you to come say, I want this and that if you use my PowerShell scripts or some of my programs. I don't expect to get any donations or stars or whatever the fuck it is they do on GitHub. It's just a projects for me that I use to learn or to fix a problem. Like you see here. So I'm like, what the fuck? I don't have to bend down before the feet of Richard Stallman and Linux YouTubers and lick the suck, what is it called, debris off their feet and swallow them like cats have swallowing cat hairs over the years when they lick themselves and say, oh, thank you, masters, for giving me the opportunity to use your thing that you really are giving to me to use. But you're also telling me I should not come to you and beg and moan to give me X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of fucking sense. And then you go down here. You know, instead of hand-holding new contributors, I have more time to spend doing what I do best, coding. Instead of trying to promote the library, I use completely honest and direct approach of communications. What you see is what you get. Yay, autistic brother. You know, instead of being professional, I can be approachable, emotional, blunt, honest, controversial, and most importantly, fun. I am a human, not a cold machine trying to keep people. We need more people with this fucking mindset in development. I'm sorry to say it. Instead of delegating work, I build and review every single feature myself, potentially enabling a high degree of cohesion. Not possible in many other projects. I'm like, I want to bend down before his fucking feet. Instead of maintaining a stable AI, I can redesign freely and let the code base grow organically as new solutions are discovered. Like, we should strive for stability, especially in production stuff, but if I want it to be stable, I can freeze the version number to say this version 1, it's not in 0.14, it's like super stable. I can just say I'm just using that, like I'm not upgrading from there. I freeze the API from there because it's super stable. And then next time, let's say 0.19 seems to be super stable, then I can go to that one. So me as a developer using this person's library, I can then be in control. I can just say, oh, this seems stable, or this is stable to me, or I can fix what is broken if I need to. And I can then just stay there until the next evolution. This is how it should be, people. And then I got... I may need a Kleenex soon, you know, like... I'm reaching down for some lubrications underneath the table and be like, ooh, this is like... sane people in FOSS projects. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So what is this about, this here? And I go in here and I see this. Can we see when it was made? Open source is not about you. Here, he's actually commenting back here. Oh, all the way from February. That's actually my birthday. I wish that all of the angry yobs, angry keyboard warriors, girlfriendless, boyfriendless, FOSS advocates, Linux YouTubers that think that open source is going to give them a bigger penis, bigger breast, tighter ass, six packs, and and save humanity for evil corporations, I wish they all will read this and be open to the idea, because this is how it should be. This is how the world is. The world works. I will read a good bit of it, I think, because he come down here and talk about culture. I think this the people own it. A cognitive tech is the project that they're working on. So we may read this part here, but let's get into it. So the only people entitled to say how open source ought to work are the people running the project. Give this man a beer, fizzy drink, hug, flower, whatever the fuck he wants. Yes. And this is what I'm talking about. Open source, or FOSS, or TPL, MIT, is a license. It's for developers and about developers, if that makes sense. Or project managers. The reason why a lot of people, and I'm going to make you really angry right now, the reason why a lot of people think they are entitled and ought to say how FOSS projects should be run is because they see all of this amazing software, and they don't have to pay a fucking dime for it. What they're afraid of is that if someone closed the code, they now have to pay. This is their biggest concern. And they will not sell you this. They will then use, FOSS is about community-driven. FOSS or open source is about openness of the code. And blah. They try to bend their fucking mindset and their testicles into a place they should not be so they can get free shit. There are plenty. There are probably more closed source software out there than open source software that are free, aka don't cost money. Even Richard Stallman says that the TPL don't mean free as in free beer, but freedom. The thing is that when we are open sourcing the project, it becomes a little bit hard to ask for money for the software. So if I build a calculator, for example, and open sourcing, aka you can see the code or modify the code and use the code, that means you can also take the code from GitHub or wherever it's stored, compile it on your machine, and you have an identical version of the program that I asked $10 for. So why the fuck should you pay me $10 when you can find a friend that can do that for you? And then you can ask for $5 for it. Totally legal. Then someone else can take that code, compile, and ask for $1. And none of us getting any money because someone just download, compiled, give away the executable for free. So it's not that you can't ask for money for the executable. It's like, here, pay me $60 to watch this video. By the way, you can watch it for free on this site. But you want me to pay you $40, but I can just go onto your webpage and watch it for free? Yeah. And I can download it? Yeah. And I can give it to my friends for free? Yeah. But I want you to pay me $40 for this copy I have in my hand here. Or that are on the front page. Makes no sense. So it's just that it's not that developers don't want you to pay for the software. It's just like it makes no sense to do it because there's so many easy ways of circumvent it. With closed source, there is not. Because with closed source, you can't just take the source code, compile it on your machine and run it. Identical version. So you have to pay to get the software. And this is really what a lot of people are afraid of. And if you think I'm wrong, look at a lot of projects. Look at Elementary OS. They put a recommendation of donation to download their ISO. I think the lowest was $1. And then they had an empty field. The collective community, Linux YouTubers, article writers, journalists, they lost their fucking testicles and vaginas, titties, whatever it is. How dare you? How dare you to want me to pay for your software? And they had to explain, you could just put a fat 0 in the suggestion box and the download link pops up. And they were like, oh. And this is not the first time, and it won't be the last time because the community, the users, let me put it this way, the users of open source software, they don't give a fuck about contributing. They don't give a fuck about that you can see the source code. They just want free shit. Not all, but a lot of them. Because if they don't want free shit, they will take, I don't have my wallet on me, sadly enough, but they will go down into their pocket and go deep in there. And if they have used a project for X amount of years, or let's say the user distribution is their main distribution for 3 or 4 years, they will do either promotion work for free, aka make YouTube videos, whatever the fuck it is. They will help out with translation, be active in the community, or they will go into their pockets and once a year give them a 10 or something like that. Almost all users do none of that. And here's the thing, you're not required to do any of this. That's the beauty of it. But they don't want to do any of that, but then they want to go to Richie Hickey or what it's called, and every other people that spend hours and hours and hours on doing their shit and demand, do this for me, fix this. If you don't follow this exact philosophy or mindset, we will cancel you and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I'm spending so much money shit to give it for free to you and you come here and bitch and moan. There are projects that had to stop because they had a choice they had to make because the community got so demanding of things they want, how they want the product to be run and what it should be doing and features, that they could not work on the project and have a full-time job and pay the bills. And then they explain that to the user base, the community said, I can't do this. We need help. Either donations, spare time help and stuff like that. And a lot of people stepped up. Just not enough. So now it's like, well, I can get kicked out of my house and live in a cardboard box with no electricity and not be able to do anything and give people their free shit. Or I can slow down the development, which is what they actually had to do, and keep their job so they can pay the bills and give you free shit, but not the free shit that you wanted. Okay? Happened so many fucking times. And the scope of their entitlement extends only to their own projects. Just because someone open source something does not imply they own the world a chance in their status. A change in their status. Focus and effort. aka from inventors to the community manager. Have a fucking fly. As a user of something open source, you are not thereby entitled to anything at all. No, you are entitled to use it and enjoy it, or use it and hate it, or not use it at all. That's where your entitlement is. You should just be happy that you... Like, I read somewhere, and this is like it's before the Cox virus came out. The kernel was evaluated as I can't remember how many billion-dollar project. Like, it would have cost a company, I think it was $2 billion to have developed the kernel to the status in today. Or at that point. Meaning that if they want to liquidate and all that shit, they could easily ask for billions of dollars for just the kernel, not the GNU tools and distribution tooling. Just the fucking kernel was a $1 billion+ project. That means that there has been spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing that. Who do you think have paid for that? Not the fucking users. It's corporate sponsors. It's the Linux Foundation that is... I like it they call it Linux Foundation, and Linux is one of their least funded programs. Funny enough, if you look at their financial status, most of their money goes to not the Linux kernel, basically. Go look into that. And then you see all of these people sit there and not bitch and moan, but demanding. Why does this not work? Why does this not do this? I don't like the direction you're taking the code and blah, blah. And this is coming from people that can't even do print hello world in a coding language, for example. It's coming from Bob and Josephine in their basement that buys into this philosophy because it gives them an identity, it gives them a meaning of life, and they get a lot of free shit. You are not entitled to contribute. No. You are not entitled to features. No. If you pay for your shit. if you pay for the software, you have the right to complain. I love to say this to people that get a lot of free shit, and they sit and bitch and moan about it and said, like, well, you've lost that right. You have lost the right to complain by not paying for it. You can complain, but they don't have to do, the people you got the thing from don't have to do shit. If I get a free watch, you come up to me and say, Kent, you fat bastard, here's a watch. I'm saying, thank you. I can't go up and say, it's not working. I don't get, that's not that their complaint, their problem anymore. Oh, this is too big. Not their problem. But if I paid you, I'm like, that's a nice watch you have there, and you're like, well, give me $10 and it's yours. I pay you $10 and it's not working. Now we have a different situation. You are not entitled to the attention of others. This is the big one. Oh, a lot of Linux YouTubers look at this one. You are not entitled to a value attached to your complaints. Nope. That comes if you pay for it. You are not entitled to this explanation. I fucking love this. If you have expectations of others that ain't being met, those expectations are your own responsibility. You are responsible for your own needs. If you want things, make them. This is the idea. Or not the idea, but this is like the beauty of opening the source code. I built this tool shed, if you can remember that. If you want the door bigger, make it bigger. If you want it taller, wider, you want a sex swing in there or anything, do that. You want it isolated, do that. You want to make it into your little fucking garden gnome collection dungeon, do that. I have no rights to come and say you can't, and you have no rights to tell me to do it for you. And this is where, again, I hate the community that's come up around the open source FOSS Linux world, because most of the people, I will guess, this is a guesstimate, that 95+% of all of the people using these products or services have no idea how to make things themselves. AKA, they love that you can see the source code. If everyone else is looking at the source code and fixing bugs and adding features that they want. They love that they don't have to pay for it or engage or contribute back to it if everyone else is paying for it and contributing and giving back to it. Then they love it. It's this... This is a term for this in psychology, I can't remember what it is, but when something happens, it can be something like you pour a cup of coffee and you see it's almost empty. Oh, the next one will fill it up and start brewing some new coffee. Then the next one comes and take the last sip. Oh, well, the next one that comes sees that it's empty, so they would fill it up and build some new coffee. Then the next one comes and see, oh, it's empty. They may write an angry note, or then they go over and get something water or something else. Say, oh, the next one will fill up the coffee and make it. Until someone at some point, hours down the line, get frosty or fist up, or the one that normally just makes all the coffee makes it for everyone else. And again, there's psychological term for this, but this is how most people work in their brains. Like, we are creatures of comfort. We don't, why should I do it when there's so many, like, I'm just one out of thousands people using this software. Why should I give back, or why should I fix it? I can just go and complain and someone else will do it. That's how the mindset works. Open source is a license and delivery mechanism, period. Yes, it's not a philosophy, it's not a lifestyle, it's not a religion, it's not it's not a political party or whatever the fuck you will call it. It means you get the source for the software and the right to use and modify it. That's the only thing this is meant for. You can see, use, and modify the code. That's it. And if you're not a developer or a hobby developer, this means nothing for you. Nothing. All the social position associated with it, I can't read that word for some reason, including the idea of community-driven development, are part of a recently invented methodology with little basic in how things actually work and philosophy that embodies cult-like both a lack of support for diversity in the way that can work and in the way things can work, and a pervasive sense of community entitlement. I'm sorry for putting those words, my brain's all over the place. If you listen to almost any Linux YouTuber, why FOSS is great, why Linux is great, they are talking about what I just highlighted here. The social implications, the community-driven. It's a community we can all the cult like you have to hate Microsoft, Apple, they're the evil, and we on the right side of history. It locks down diversity and stuff like that. This is what 99% of Linux YouTubers on YouTube. Linux YouTubers talk about in their videos. This is 99% of what the angry commenter talks about on proprietary software, Windows videos. This is 99% of what the Linux or FOSS, GNU Linux, FOSS, whatever the fuck you will call it, people talk about on forums, on Reddit posts, and I can go on and on and on and on. Why? Because they don't know how to fucking develop. And open source, FOSS, is meant for developers, not for you. You just have to benefit from it. If you are not a developer intending to use the code of a product, this means nothing to you. How the software that you use on your computer is built means nothing to you. The license of that software means nothing to you. Unless you are going to modify it, redistribute it, etc., etc. If you're just downloading and using it, the license means nothing. Because you can either get it in two ways. You can get it for free. In a few ways, you get it for free, both proprietary and open source. Of us, you can get them for free, use them for free, and even distribute them for free if you want to. Depending on, again, the license. If it's a proprietary, you can get it for free, but you can't redistribute it. You can get it for free, and you can redistribute it. You can get it for free, and if you ask, they may give you the source code. You can also get a proprietary software where you have to pay for it, and you cannot redistribute it, like aka how most games, most games and a lot of proprietary software work right now is that you pay for the license to use the software. If you read the end user agreement, you don't even own the fucking game. You don't own the software. You own a license to use it. And it's been like this for like 20 plus fucking years, sadly enough. All your Steam games, you don't fucking own them. Technically, Steam can take away your games tomorrow with no legal fucking consequences. They don't have to pay you anything back. They don't have to do anything. Game companies can do the same. I'm not agreeing with this, by the way. But this is how it is. This is why I love the idea of all of these FOSS advocate, open source advocate, Linux YouTubers sit here and talk about how everything should be open source, and then they have thousands of dollars spent in Steam games they don't actually fucking own, and they sit there and talk about ownership of software. You don't know what the fuck you are talking about if that's the case. I'm just going out and say it. If you sit here and proprietary software to the devil, everything should be open source, and then you have thousands of dollars in Steam games, you're using Google services left, right, and center, you are climbing up the AI psychosis ladder faster than fucking Paris Hilton climbed a scandal back in the days. I can't take you seriously. Nobody can take you seriously because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about if that's what you're doing. And a fun thing here, we are in no way building culture for profit. Oh, that must be the project. Far fewer than 1% of culture, I hope I say that now, users are our consulting or product customers, and thus contributing to our livelihood. Less than 1% are actually helping out with the project. Is basically what he's saying here. There will, of course, be a link to these in the description. But think about this, dudes. Dudettes. AI scrapers. Think about this. This and this is the most realistic, down to earth, common sense, logical sense, whatever. Put any fancy words in there you may. This is reality. Linux YouTube is 99% of fucking illusion. Linux users are living in a make-believe world. And to some degree, that make-believe world is fostered by good old Richard Stallman, sadly enough. Again, if you're not a developer, either hobbyist or professional, or if you're not making software and want to use these products, the license means nothing for you. It's not meant for you. Richard Stallman did not make the TPL, which is like, well, in the future we will have Linux. He did want to make an OS, of course, but he did not sit there and say, well, it's so people can get a lot of free shit. No, he made it out of frustrations. He made it because he could not fix problems easily. Because there was a lot of, well, back in the day, if you had to fix something, you couldn't do it locally. You have to call up, before the internet, you have to call up and you have to send software out, or you have to call up and say what the problem was and wait for a new version of the software to be mailed or delivered to you in hand. That takes days or weeks or months. It's not like today where we have online updates. If we call up Microsoft or the package maintainer on your favorite Linux distribution, say there's a bug in the system, they're like, yep, give me a few hours and you just sudo apt update, sudo apt upgrade, or pacman SYU upgrade, or whatever, SYU. And the problem is fixed. That was why he made it. Because then he could fix it. And he didn't have to ask for permission or wait for the logistic nightmare for a new version of the software to come. If Richard Stallman was born today and lived in the world we lived in today, he would probably not have made the GNU license. Because most of the problems he was trying to fix are not problems today. He can just send an email, and I've done this many times, send an email to someone with a proprietary software. There's a bug, there's a problem here, and then an hour later, upgrade the software, it was fixed. And in that hour, I could then work on other stuff related to my job. He may still have done something politically, because he is a political-driven man. But the GNU would probably not have existed if they were young adults today. Because most of the problems they're trying to fix have been fixed besides seeing the source code. Like the copy left thing, not the copy right thing, was not. That would probably one that he wanted to fix. Do something where everything was more open, but I don't think he would have done it in the TPL way, to be honest. He's a relic of his time, sadly enough. But here's the thing. Even the TPL, was that trying to fix a problem for the consumer? No. And if you are not a developer, if you are not part of a project, you are a consumer. The TPL and what Richard Stallman did back then and other people did back then was not to fix a problem for you. It was to fix a problem for developers. Linux YouTubers and Richard Stallman, when I say Linux YouTubers, I mean Linux YouTubers, Linux users, FOSS advocates, open source advocate. They have pushed this for a long time, and I would say the late noughts, Richard Stallman jumped onto it. Because he hadn't always been fun enough. If you watch some of his older videos, like from the 90s and 80s, he's not really that into this whole community-driven methodologies and political aspect. He talks about a little bit, but not super much. But at some point, the voice got so big about this man-made, or what you would call it, this like, this, it got morphed in to this by the community. And that's YouTube's blog posters, users, by the user base. of FOSS, open source, Linux, and so on and so on. Richard Stallman likes a lot of these ideas. Like, he think this way. So he jumped on and validated it, sadly enough. Or he came out and he probably would have validated it ever since day one, but he probably came out to be more outspoken about it. And that then legitimized it for a lot of people. Even with, not Richard Stallman, even Linus Torvalds don't agree with most of these things. If you hear him talk about FOSS, open source and stuff, that his version of it, or how he looks at it, and you can see there's clips of this on YouTube where he says like, well, to the notion of, I build the software, I give you the code, you modify the code, and you give me the changes back, so I don't have to fix them. It's a good it's a give and take relationship. That's how he looks at it. What did he say? I made software. I have the code out there for you to look at, modify, and then you give me those modifications back if needed, if you do modifications, or you can just use it. So I do something, you use it, and you can give something back. Is there any way in that sentence where it talks about freedom or down with proprietary software or any customer/user related talk in that sentence? No. But that's roughly broader highlighted how he looks at it. I make something, I give you the abilities to use it and modify it. You just have to give me the modifications back. So I'm a developer. You can use it, but if you are modifying it, another developer, you have to give that back to me. So it's for developer to developer. Make sense? And I know a lot of you guys, girls out there right now are going mental. But you need to get out your horses. You need to step down, because Linux is not the best operating system. FOSS is not the best philosophy. Open source is not the best philosophy. What makes something good or bad is the human aspect of it. What makes this work? What makes this a good project? What makes this a wholesome? What makes these good and wholesome projects? Are the humans developing it, making decisions on how to... They can rip the living shit out of you financially with FOSS software. If you want me to, I can make a video about how easy they can deceive you, rip shit, be anti-consumer with FOSS software. It's so fucking easy. Because a lot of the practices that are being used are not in the code. It's in the use of the software. And that's why, you see a lot of open source projects, they get forked because of this, because they bake in telemetry, and some people don't like that, so they fork it just to take out the telemetry. But they rarely become so popular. That's also another subject in of itself. I think what has happened here is that a lot of users of FOSS and Linux and stuff like that don't want to live with this uncomfortable truth that the only thing, well, nothing can protect us against other humans, is properly yet. They want to live in a world where there is some protection that, it's open source, so we can see if you fuck us over. It will be more stable and secure, even though it's been shown not to be more secure and stable. All of these things. It gives them a comfortable way of not thinking about it, not have to do anything about it, because someone else will, because it's FOSS and blah, 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 or the code is open. They don't have to think of the uncomfortable way that if a company, an organization, or whatever it is, if they really wants to fuck you over, the license or how the sausage is made means nothing. They will still find ways of fucking you over. Open, closed, semi-open, semi-closed, with pants, without pants. They will fuck you over if they want to. And for a lot of people, that's an uncomfortable world to live in. They want some form... A lot of people like this, like, fuck the police, but they're the first one to call the police if a burglar is in the house, okay? A lot of people is like, we don't like soldiers, we don't like war, but they are really, really happy that there is no war in their country, that they don't need to be enlisted in the army and stuff, because there's other people that are doing that for them. You get what I'm coming at here? We don't want to think about that this thing here, this is an iPhone, Android, has has child labor associated with it. Conflict minerals, I think it's called. We don't want to think that when we're going and buying our fucking fancy technology here, that we are buying a product that are utilizing sweatshops, child labor, shitty work conditions and stuff like that. We don't want to think about that. So we like when it says made in Vietnam, because, at least it's not made in a sweatshop in China. Well, the Vietnamese fabricators, they get shit from China anyway, where a lot of it is made in sweatshops. Yes, made conflict-free minerals. Yeah, well, they get their minerals from conflict minerals mines anyway. They just wash their hands and say, well, we didn't do it, so therefore it's conflict-free minerals and stuff like that. So it makes us kind of feel good because we don't have to deal with it. We have like this fake protection against the uncomfortableness. And I honestly think that's why people are driving to this. They don't want to accept that a lot of things in this world, if we have to change it, we can't just sit down and say X to Windows, yes to Linux. We have to change society. And this is not something you do in a year, 2 years, or 5 years. This is a long process, which most people don't have the cognitive abilities to deal with. And they should not, to be honest. And I'm not faulting them for it, because why should they, So it's easy to just say like, oh, well, this open source is so good and great and promising me all these things. I want to believe it. And also for a lot of people, if you look at the people associating in these areas here, a lot of developers are anti-associate people. A lot of these Linux YouTubers and FOSS and blah, blah, blah people don't have a big circle of IRL acquaintances. Here they fit in. You think like me, I think like you. I haven't felt like this since forever. I have not been accepted for the nerd that I am. So it gives people like that a place to feel home. And this is also how, you get indoctrinated into different things like political parties, stuff like that. There are people that think a lot like you. They make you feel acceptable, comfortable, and then you go, yes, this is my new home. But then there's some things you don't really agree with and you don't like so much, but this is my tribe now. I have to protect it. So a lot of people, they say and do shit they don't really fucking agree with to stay in the tribe. Because they think that if they go outside the tribe, they will not be accepted anymore. So yeah, 90% of what this group is doing is okay, but they are eating their firstborn. So let's find some mental gymnastics to justify that, because everything else is great here. A lot of this is going on in the FOSS world, in the open source world, in the Linux world. There's a lot of claims being made with no evidence driven behind it, other than ideas, hearsay, what ifs, maybes, and stuff like that. And that's not real data. That's emotions. But it makes a lot of people feel home. And Grant, I'm fucking tired of Windows also. A lot of people are tired of Windows and Mac. And they just want a new home. And then they get drawn into all this fucking bullshit. And they think, oh, I have to be like that to be here. No, you don't. You can be on Linux and use all the proprietary software you want. Nobody gives a fuck. Or they should not give a fuck. You can run both Linux, Mac, and Windows. Nobody should give a fuck. If they do, they are not your friend. They are not someone that looks out for you. They're not someone that have your best interest at mind. The only thing they have at mind is that thing that they're promoting. They are basically just a salesperson for a thing. And they only care about the evolution, expansion of that thing. They are a drone. They are a preacher. Where anything besides their worldview is accepted. Which means it's getting super locked down. Because either you think like us or you don't. I've been for years said that there's nothing more less inclusive than the FOSS and Linux world. Because if you don't think like us, you don't say the same words as us, if you don't become part of the cult, you are not welcome here. And then you go on to Windows and Mac, and they use anything from licenses and you have never heard about. They use whatever fucking software that is the best tool for the job. They will not sit and judge you and give you a spiel for an hour about X, Y, and Z and why you're a bad person for doing X, Y, and Z. They're not telling you that you are on the wrong side of history for using a piece of software. That you are making the world a worse place for making a software running an OS. I would rather be part of that group than how FOSS, Linux, open source, call it what you will, has become. This is not the Linux or the open source or FOSS world I fell in love with or I wanted to support. It's not been like this for over 20 years. The only thing you have to speak, like if this is the only thing you can talk about to get people over to your side, you've already lost. Linux should not need a community-driven, or FOSS or open source should not need a community-driven development for people to use that shit. They should not need a cult-like behavior. They should not need a us versus them mentality for people to use the software. Because all of those things are things you do when your software is not good enough. So, okay, my product is not good enough. Then let's talk about all the ethical reasons why you should use it. Moral reasons. Blah, blah, blah. All of those things are things that has nothing to do with the product, the software. But again, Linux YouTubers, advocates, open source advocates, they use those talking terms instead of the product. Buy my car. It's not as good as everyone else, but it's more and then laying out, you're part of a community now, you know, you're not locked down to the evil slaves of you're not slave to corporate, blah, 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 you know, emotional, unrelated fucking moral, whatever it is bullshit, that's nothing to do with the car. So you should buy the car, not because of the car, but because of everything else. Makes no fucking sense. Hope to see you all later. Bye-bye.